Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur IZZAH SHAHIRAH binti AHMAD ZAINAL. My matrix number 2022-660206.
Assalamualaikum. My name is MILIA ATIRAH binti MASARUDIN. My matrix number 2022821434.
My name is NATSHA binti Mama Saleh and my matrix number is 2022898352.
My name is Juliana binti FAZLUR RAHMAN.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is FAIHANAH binti AHMAD.
First of all, I will talk about introduction. Personal finance include money management as well as saving and investing. It consists of budgeting, banking, insurance, mortgage, investments, as well as retirement, tax, and estate planning. Commonly, the phrase refers to the whole industry that provides financial services to people and families and advises them on financial and investment prospects. Now, we move to purposes of managing personal finance and budgeting. The first one is easier to achieve goals. Budgeting and planning will make achieving your objective easier. Your objectives may include owning your first home, purchasing your ideal wardrobe, or exploring the world. Then, know your credit status. With a financial statement, cash flow statement, and balance sheet, a person may simply monitor your credit standing. The third one is for emergency plan. You may prepare for an emergency by establishing a savings account that can assist you financially in the event of an accident. Last but not least is determination for needs and wants. As everyone knows, everyone has their own demands and desires. Needs are the things that we require to continue living as opposed to wants, which serve to satisfy our desires. Let's know more about background of estate planning. Estate planning is required for individuals to manage their assets according to their wishes for their distribution after death. Estate planning is essential in the event of sudden death due to accidents, illnesses, or other causes. Purpose of estate planning have four things, which is as a problem for their children, to avoid any unwanted family disharmony, to make sure it will distribute according to the testator, and the cost of managing the asset can be favored or reduced. If their parents pass away unexpectedly, their children will lose their source of income. Thus, it is crucial that they have someone to care for them. Furthermore, if a person possesses a significant amount of assets and has not created a will before to their death, it is likely that family members will seek those assets. As previously mentioned, the testator may have or intend for the preferred recipient to receive all of his assets and wish to divide them equitably. Due to seized asset, the beneficiaries are required to pay a substantial amount of taxes and fees if the decedent did not engage in estate planning. Let's talk about importance of managing financial statement and budgeting. First of all is financial understanding. When people have a financial plan, they are in a better position to comprehend their money because they may create quantifiable financial goals and see the results of their actions. Then, income management. A well-defined strategy may help anyone better manage their money. A budget might be set so that the individual does not need to stress or wonder whether they have enough money. Moreover, for emergencies, according to many, savings serve as a backup plan. However, if a person has a little reserve, unanticipated financial shocks might still be disruptive. Lastly, assets versus liabilities management. Individuals frequently find themselves in a predicament because they lack understanding on their objectives and the most effective means of pursuing them. Last but not least, I will explain more about importance of estate planning. For the beginning, an estate plan protects beneficiaries. Estate planning is important not only for super rich families but also important for middle class families. Then, an estate plan eliminates family issues. This will lead let the individual to choose who will handle their finance and assets in the event that they lost mental ability or pass away. Moreover, an estate plan protects young children. No one wants to pass away at a young age, but as a parent of young children, it is essential to plan for the unimaginable. Last but not least, from me, is an estate plan spares. Here's a big text bite. The primary objective of estate planning is to safeguard your loved ones, including from the Internal Revenue Service (IRS). Estate planning is necessary to pass assets to heirs while minimizing their tax liabilities. That's all from me. For the next presenter.
Now, I want to explain about the current issue regarding the personal financing and estate planning. Now, let's start with the issue of personal financing. The current issue of personal financial statement and budgeting was published by the Insolvency Department, which revealed that in the first 5 months of 2020, an unbelievable 18 individuals were declared bankrupt daily. In addition to vehicle lease purchases, company loans and delinquent credit card bills, personal loans accounted for more than half of the 46,000 individuals who filed for bankruptcy from January to May of this year. Another alarming number is that more than 200 of those declared bankrupt since 2018 were 25 or younger. According to the data, the number of bankruptcies will decrease between 2018 and 2022 from over 16,000 cases yearly in 2018 to around 6,500 cases in 2021. The rate of personal bankruptcies in Malaysia has been steadily decreasing. The significant decline may be related to 20 September 2020 amendment to the Insolvency Act, which raised the bankruptcy threshold from 50,000 ringgit to 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. Nevertheless, even if the number is substantially lower than in recent years, the fact that 18 persons were declared bankrupt each day was cause for alarm. The prior amount for bankruptcies was 30,000 ringgit. However, he has now raised to 50,000 ringgit and will continue to rise until it reach 1,000 ringgit Malaysia. It is troubling that so many of them declare bankruptcies as a result of personal loans. Perhaps some of them take loans to pay off their existing debt. They should get guidance from the Credit Counselling and Debt Management Agency to prevent this from occurring. Now, moving on to the current issue of estate planning. The first issue of estate planning, which is unresolved case of inheritance. Unresolved inheritance disputes including disagreement between family members over property. Additionally, there is no consideration and collaboration and desire to inherit the property extend the agreement. Ismail Yahya, the former Chief Shariah Judge of Terengganu, ruled one of the cases involving Mr. Handara versus his father's family members reside on his grandfather's land since he was a toddler. Before his father left, 2 additional parcels of lands were acquired and transferred to his grandfather's name. As his father acquired Singaporean citizenship, Mr. Handara spent some time dwelling in Singapore. After his father's death, the land's ownership became a source of controversies between his family and that of his father's younger brother. After several decades, the fight is still ongoing. They must take the dispute to court since it cannot be resolved at the land office. In 2016, his aunt's family filed a lawsuit to divide the property, marking the beginning of the actual legal conflict. The cumulative value of the 3 parcels of land in a southern state surpasses 5,100 ringgit Malaysian. He desired to acquire the property on which Handara now resident. Except for one heirs, everyone has agreed, which has prolonged in the litigation. For to this case, since it is one of the 1,000 unsolved cases and a possible unclaimed property dump. Now moving on to the next issue, which is dumping of unclaimed properties. According to Irfan Shafi'i of the Muslim Lawyer Association of Malaysia, 70 billion ringgit worth of assets in Malaysia have not been claimed by their successor. It is due to a lack of information that people in rural region, in particular, do not make a will before to death. Aside from this, property owners may conceal their rich to the point that their heirs are unaware of its upon their Concerns have also been expressed over a lack of awareness regarding property division, which has damaged many single mothers and their children following the deaths of their spouses and deaths. In addition, the lack of estate administration expertise among heirs is the fundamental source of the problem. As a result, some of them do not claim the property because they believe the process was too complex. Also contributing to the dumping of unclaimed property is the fact that their heirs do not want to claim the property due to its low value. For submitting an application to transfer ownership, the successor must settle all of the deceased outstanding debts, including mortgages, income tax, and bank loans. That's all for the current issue. Let's moving on to the next part.
Thank you, ATIRAH, for your explanation. I will continue explaining about statistical information. There are 4 that I will explain, which is will, faraid, hibah, and trust. First is a will. A will is a written document that expresses a person's wishes about the administrations and distributions of their estate upon deaths. It will also specify who will manage the property. In Malaysia though, wills often come last. A will may include a provision for guardianships, care, and education of a child. Next, according to Managing Director of Rock Will, So Ling Ang, a pool of 521 respondents conducted in 2018 by the group Will You or Wanna You? Initiative reveals the view of Malaysia on their aware of estate planning in Malaysia. Based on figure 2, the study found out that 22% of respondents in Type A thought it was too early in their life to make a will. 12% of respondents in Type B said they knew the value of estate planning but haven't started the process yet. And 12% of respondents in Type C didn't know how to start the process. 11 of those who answered in Type F said they will start the process when they're older. 17 of those who answered in Type D said they will do it when they have the money. 70 of those who answered in Type E said they only do it if they are dying. And 9% of those who answered in Type G said they will do it when they have the time. According to So, the lack of urgency can come from not believing that life can be dangerous or not knowing how wills and trusts can help. Second is faraid. Ilmu faraid, also known as faraid or the law of inheritance in Islam, is a science that deals with the law pertaining to the devotional activity based on Sharia of a person belonging after his or her death. The faraid part of Islam law governs the distribution of deceased person estate among hers, in accordance with Allah God's command in the Holy Quran and the Hadiths or traditions of the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him. Other than that is hibah. Hibah refers to transfer of movable or immovable property during the settler lifetime. A Muslim may hibah his estate to anybody throughout his or her lifetime, whether only a portion or the entire estate. For instance, by transferring the name on the title to the home, car, and the land, this asset must exist during the duration of akad or contract. In accordance with Islam law, hibah is valid if there is hijab and kabul over the present that they wish to give away for free. Last but not least is the trust. The trust is a legal fiduciary arrangement that enables individual to place their asset in custody and management of a third party. This individual is referred to as a trustor, and the individual or company that choose to hit this position will be responsible for ensuring that their asset is managed according to their instruction. Start into the asset protection trust and testamentary trust. First, an asset protection trust, also known as an irrevocable trust, is a trust vehicle designed to secure an individual asset from creditor. Meanwhile, for testamentary trust that is founded according to the term of a will, it can be useful as part of an overall wealth management plan, since it provides instruction for distribution of an estate asset. A trust also offers numerous advantages, including the ability to avoid profit cost. So, beneficiary can receive asset faster, privacy, protection, reduction or limitations of estate and gift taxes, and the ability to better control future wealth by established conditions for an asset distributions. That's all from me, and I will pass to the next presenter.
The importance of appointing a trust or trustee for the asset. A trustee is asset planning is a person who is designed as someone they feel has the authority and competence to function as the asset custodian. According to Trustee Act of Malaysia, the maximum number of trustees is limited to 4. This prohibition will be abolished, however, in the case of asset and trust to a trustee for charitable, religious, or public reason. This section will elaborate on why a trustee will be required, recruit, and the significance of doing so. First, the beneficiaries under 18 years old or have disability issue. If the testator has a kid under the age of 18 with a disability, it is essential that they choose a trustee so that the child can continue to live. After all, they cannot have or generate any income since they are still minor, whereas it is easier for someone with a disability who cannot properly manage funds to have a trustee handle it. No family member willing to be a trustee. If no family member is willing to serve as a trustee, you should consider hiring a professional trustee to ensure that your estate is settled according to your last wishes, that all of your objectives are met, and that your assets are not frozen due to the absence of a trustee who can make a claim on them. Third one, if the asset have a high value. If a person has a large number of high value assets, it will be easier for them to hire a trustee as compared to a family member, because the family member may be frustrated with beneficiaries that each of them will receive, which may involve emotion. However, if they hire a trustee, it will be easier for them to accept the beneficiaries that the testator has appointed and given to. Matrimonial property is a property obtained by the husband and wife throughout their marriage through the combined effort of any Sharia compliance asset. The criteria that the court will examine when splitting the claimed property are the contribution made by money, work and property, the indirect contribution of the housewife, the debt of a spouse for the benefit of both parties, and the requirement of minor children. At the time of the wedding, the wife of the plaintiff worked at a coffee shop while a spouse of the defendant was a fishmonger. During their marriage, he acquired the marital house, a large amount of land, 4 fishing boats, fishing nets, and a fish stand. When they divorced in 1974, the defendant only provided the plaintiff with IZZAH maintenance. The plaintiff won the High Court to find that she was entitled to half of all the assets she and the defendant acquired during their marriage, as well as half of all the income generated by those properties as marital property. According to the court, the idea of marital property was founded on Malay tradition and was backed by the legal recognition of a divorced spouse's participation to the acquisition and modification of the relevant property. Once it was proven that the item had been acquired during the marriage or that the claimant had contributed to its development, the law assumed that it was marital property and it was the opposing spouse's job to rebut the assumption. In this case, the plaintiff joined the defendant on his business trip and resigned her work to support her husband's fish business enterprise. It had no direct role in the defendant's fish business. The constant presence maintained the defendant's mental stability, allowing him to operate his business successfully. The plaintiff was awarded a 1/3 part of compensation since the evidence revealed that, as the defendant's travelling companion, she indirectly helped his business company. In the Sarawak case, Muhammad Peridar bin Haji Leman versus Annie Binti Osman, the matrimonial property was acquired and registered due to 1989 due to a joint debt. Plaintiff had paid 55,000 whereas the defendant paid 49,000. The court awarded the petitioner and defendant an equal share of the residence. In circumstances when it is hard to ascertain how much each spouse contribute to the assets acquisition, the rule applies equally.
Thank you. Next, I will continue with conclusion. An estate plan is a set of tools used to optimize the use of one's property while living and then transfer it to the appropriate recipient following that. You will need an estate plan if you want to ensure that your property and loved one is protected after your death. Inadequate estate planning can result in the destruction of assets and family conflict. The greatest benefit of an estate plan is the tranquility it provides to the estate owner and his family. Proper estate planning frequently include documentation to guarantee that a person's wishes are followed up after death. If no one is legally able to administer the asset and affairs, the probate court must be petitioned for the appointment of conservator. This method is expensive and readily identifiable. The trustee is usually required to establish a contact with the court and present regular financial accounts. Lastly, for recommendation, we would like to advise proper management of personal financial statements and budgeting in order to avoid pressure. As we all know, increased responsibility has contributed to recent negative events in our everyday life, such as bankruptcy, blacklisting, and poverty. In addition, the obligation must be paid on time to avoid future issues, as failure to do so might lower an individual's credit performance. The government of Malaysia has established the Valuation and Property Services Department and the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia to provide residents with the necessary property management information. The government frequently advertises property-related topics on television, such as strata property, marriage, divorce, and property management. Last but not least, we want to encourage drafting a will and notifying relative of the numbers of properties held in their name. This will also prevent family disputes since no one can oppose in the court. The present issue of dumping unclaimed property is a waste for family members and their legacy.